What is going on, guys? Today we will be beating the Sword and Shield Battle Tower with this pretty unique team featuring Arceus from Wish, which is Silvally. And before we begin, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video because it really helps me out. Thank you. And first off, we have our lead Roserade, which is going to be our Hazard Setter and our Pseudo Special Attacker. It has Energy Ball and Sludge Bomb for damage, Spikes for hazards, and Stun Spore to hinder offensive threats. We give it a Rocky Helmet to chip down physical attackers and invest in its health and speed EVs for longevity and control. Next we have our Physical Sweeper Silvally with its Steel Memory, because Steel is a solid offensive and defensive type with an immunity to Toxic and T-Spikes. Silvally has a plethora of coverage moves, although not very good ones, and access to the great pivoting move Parting Shot. Next we have Milotic, which is going to be our defensive wall. It has Scout to fish for burns on enemy Pokemon, and we teach it Ice Beam for coverage. It also has Dragon Tail to block setup, and it can heal with Recover. We invest in its health and defense for the most bulk possible. And here we are in our first battle against this artist. As you all can see, the shiny Roserade is a pretty underrated shiny. It's really nice, and it's not too abstract. So I decided to switch out because obviously I don't want to be taking any fire type move into my Roserade, so I just go straight to Milotic, which is also a shiny. They actually end up going for the Heat Crash, and it does nothing to the absolute tank that is Milotic. So we are looking pretty good here. I could Dragon Tail predicting a switch, or I could just go for the Scald, but I decided, let's just rip a Scald. If you get a burn into anything, it'll be good, and they don't switch, so we get a Scald into Colossal, which 4 times super effective obviously knocks it out. And Milotic also has the Leftovers for healing, which is really consistent. And they send out their Bronzong, and I'm thinking, can we really handle that or not? So I just decided to go for the Dragon Tail, and since it doesn't have reduced priority yet, because this is still Gen 8, and Dragon Tail is kind of busted, we actually drag out the Pyukumuku, and I decide I don't want to get Toxic into Milotic even though we have Marvel Scale, which will boost our defense. I think I'm just gonna switch out into our Roserade here, because now we can deal super effective damage with Energy Ball into this Pyukumuku. And they go for the Toxic, which is what we expected, and it doesn't affect us, which is good. So now we have a free Energy Ball coming in, and it actually does a good amount of damage. Not amazing, but still a good amount. And they review their Pain Split, which is kind of annoying because now we are on the losing side and they have Leftovers. But I figure it's gonna be okay. It might be a bit of a long game because Pyukumuku is just that annoying. And yeah, they go for the Protect to stall out a turn, get their Leftovers healing. I don't really care because another about, I guess, 2 Energy Balls should take care of the Pyukumuku. And so I just decided to rip another Energy Ball. They can't really touch us, and I'm just gonna go for it. So I go for it. It does about, I think, 60%. We go for the Soak, which now makes us vulnerable to Toxic, but they don't have another turn to Toxic us because we outspeed them anyways, and the next Energy Ball is a confirmed KO. I go for it. They don't protect, which doesn't matter, and the Pyukumuku goes down. They chip us down with Innards out, but it's not a problem. So usually don't really see, like, offensive Roserade is more common. It's more common compared to this defensive hazard setting variant. But I figured, you know what, having a hazard setter is always good, and I kind of want to preserve Roserade sometimes. So it's better as, a long-term, specially attacking hazard setting Pokemon than just a sacrifice lead. So I go to Milotic here, and it reveals to be it actually reveals to be a physically attacking Bronzong, which is kind of crazy. It's Zen hit, but I decided to Burn Fish with Skull. And since Milotic is more bulky on the special side, that Zen hit actually does quite a bit. They go for the Trick Room, which means they outspeed us now, and we unfortunately do not get the burn. But I'm thinking it's okay. We like 3 Scald should eventually take down this Bronzong. So they go for the Zen hit, but again, I don't really care. Go for the Scald, and no burn. So as you guys can see here, I'm just kind of spamming Skull into this Bronzong, and they're just going for Zen Headbutts. And unfortunately they flinch us, which means Milotic has to go down, and yeah. I decided to switch into Silvally on another Zen Headbutt. I don't want to lose Milotic, even though it doesn't really matter. So Silvally comes in, and I think we should stall out the last turn of Trick Room and tank this Zen Headbutt. Yeah, and since Steel is such a good defensive typing, even with our incredibly low defenses, we still take it like a champ. And they actually review the Earthquake, which surprisingly does not KO us. We go for the not very effective multi-attack. Multi-attack's actually kind of crazy. Like, base 120 move with no drawback that matches the type of Silvally depending on its disc. It's actually really good. The only downside is that you can't hold another item. You have to hold the memory play, unless you want a normal type Silvally. Which is honestly not bad, but I wanted to try this Steel type variant. Silvally is honestly a really underrated physical sweeper because of its, you know, it has pretty decent stats, which are of course mediocre compared to other legendaries. And here they go for the Sylveon into our Roserade. And I'm thinking this is definitely a specially defensive Sylveon, and I'm not playing games with that. That thing could Calm Mind, and I want to switch into Silvally, hopefully on a Calm Mind, and then we can threaten a Steel type move, which is multi-attack. So I switch here. And sure enough, they do go for the Calm Mind, so we actually got that prediction right. They raise their special attack and special defense, which isn't really a problem, because now we can just go for a Sword Stance of our own. Even if they go for, like, I don't know, a Fairy type move, it shouldn't be able to hit us that hard, because all of its moves are probably resisted by Steel. And that actually does quite a bit, but it doesn't really matter in my opinion. Because now we can just go for the multi-attack, we are faster, and that is a one-hit kill. So yeah, Silvally proving to be really nice in these kind of situations. They actually sent out their Leafeon, and I'm thinking we should be fine with the perfect coverage for that. I'm just gonna go for the Ice Fang, which is a low base power move unfortunately, but I figured it could do some miracles. And then it reviews its Rocky Helmet, which is not that great for us, but they actually go for the Sunny Day, so I'm thinking, is it Chlorophyll? Does Leafeon get Chlorophyll? So I'm thinking, you know what, let's just sack Silvally. I don't have any good switch-ins to Leafeon. But they actually review to not be Chlorophyll. I'm not sure if Leafeon even gets that. And we take it down with another Ice Fang. And their last Pokemon is Chinchino. I go for the multi-attack, but they actually on-calls me. So now we are locked into Ice Fang. But because Silvally is pretty strong and we are boosted from the Sword Stance, Ice Fang is a 2-hit KO. I'm not sure I clicked on multi-attack again. They go for T-Wave, paralyzes us. All we have to do is hit through this T-Wave and we should be fine. And we hit. So that's our, I think, second win. Oh, is it third? We are now next match here against Hiker Torrent. And he sends out his Weavile, which is not very good into I'm sorry, I meant our Roserade is not looking that good into his Weavile. So I decide they're probably gonna go for an Ice type move, maybe Ice Skull Crash. I don't know, Ice Fang. So I just decide to go to our Milotic, which can fish for burns on a Weavile, and if we get a burn with Skull, it's really good damage, and we can also, you know, cut its attack. So they actually do end up going for the Ice Punch, which was what we predicted. We get our Leftovers healing, and I'm contemplating between Skull or Dragon Tail, and I eventually decide on Dragon Tail, and it ends up working for me because they go for a Sword Stance, boosting their attack, and yeah, my Milotic just proves why it's really capable. Dragon Tail forces out another Pokemon, revealing more of their team and preventing the setup. And in comes the Whiscash, and And it shouldn't really be a problem for us because right here we can just go straight to Roserade, threaten the 4x super effective energy ball, and there isn't much they can do. Our Roserade is like unexpectedly bulky for a, typically especially offensive Pokemon. They go for the Earth Power, which does neutral damage to us because of our Grass typing, and that doesn't even do half, which is kind of crazy. We go for the Energy Ball, they don't switch, and we pick up the Whiscash, which is great. And the Weavile comes back in. I'm not taking an Ice Punch, and I'm not sure if Milotic is very predictable, so I just decide to go to our Silvally. It can probably tank a hit pretty well, and hopefully it doesn't get frozen. So the Weavile goes for the Ice Punch as expected, and no freeze. I decide to just rip a multi-attack, and they review Brick Break. So thankfully I didn't go for something like a Sword Stance, because that Brick Break ends up doing like, I think 50% to us. But our multi-attack is so incredibly strong, it just one-hit kills the Weavile. And they send out their final Pokemon, which is actually Gigalith. And I'm thinking this thing could have Earthquake, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna go for damage. Hopefully this picks up the KO. I'm not sure if it will, since Gigalith is incredibly physically bulky. And it doesn't. But it's okay, because now it knocks us out and we can just finish the game with our Roserade. We can just rip an energy ball and we have the game in the bag. Yeah, and just like that, Fatality the Roserade finishes up this game. There we go. Here we are in our next match against Musician Desmond. And he sends out his Arctozolt, and I keep forgetting this Pokemon's typing. I keep thinking it's a Dragon type, but at the same time I'm pondering between whether it's an Electric type or, I don't know, an Ice type. But I decide to switch and go to my Silvally, because we probably take an Ice type attack pretty well, and I wouldn't want Roserade taking unnecessary damage. Also guys, I'll be uploading a second video tomorrow with more gameplay featuring this exact same team. So if you're interested, you can check out that video as well. They end up taunting us here, which isn't really a problem because now I can just go for the neutral multi-attack. So we go for it with our Sword Stance boost, and it doesn't do as much as I expected, but it's probably because they're pretty bulky. They even have the Leftovers review, and their Thunder Fang doesn't do much to us either. Thankfully it doesn't flinch or paralyze. So I rip another multi-attack, and yeah, it's enough to KO this strange Pokemon. I don't think it has any use in competitive. I've never seen it before. And they sent out a Rotom, which, I'm not exactly scared of. I think about switching at first, but since Rotom has pretty low bulk, I just decide I'm just gonna go for the super effective Ice Fang. I'm not really threatened. We should always outspeed because we have max speed investment, and sure enough we do, and the Rotom goes down. Our taunt ends, and this guy sends out his final Pokemon, which is Lapras. I'm thinking I'm just gonna pick up damage. If it kills us, it can, do that. And it goes for the Protect. I don't know why NPCs love going Protect first turn. It just, it's not really a good play because your opponent can just set up in your face. But our multi-attack actually does pretty good damage to this bulky Pokemon. They heal with the Citrus, but it doesn't matter. They go for the Parasong actually. So I'm expecting like a Protect next turn. But it doesn't really matter. Maybe if they get the double Protect, but even if they do, they're only knocking out our Silvally, and they're gonna go down as well. Go for the multi-attack into the Protect. It's perfectly fine. Go for it again. And it does the trick. So yeah, Silvally-'s actually pretty decent in lower tiers. And here we are in our final match against champion Leon. So he sends out his Mr. Rhyme, which is a complete hard counter to Roserade. So I don't think I can get my spikes up. I don't want to risk taking like, you know, a freeze dry or a sidekick or an ice beam. So I'm just gonna switch out over here and go to my Silvally, which resists both of Mr. Rhyme's stat. They actually do end up going for a fake out, which is the best case scenario because that doesn't do much to us and we can OHKO it with multi-attack. I'm pretty sure Mr. Rhyme has mediocre bulk, so I just rip the multi-attack and yeah. We take Rocky Helmet shit, but it doesn't matter. Mr. Rhyme goes down and he sends out his Ace Charizard. So I'm a bit scared here, but I know what to expect. We can just go straight to our specially defensive Milotic and we can tank a hit easily. So I'm guessing they're going to go for the G-Max Wildfire. And the only downside of this is that we're going to get chipped down by G-Max Wildfire's residual damage, but it shouldn't be that big of a problem for us because, you know, Milotic's incredibly tanky. So they go for the Dynamax or Gigantamax, I'm not exactly sure which one it is. They go for the G-Max Wildfire and that doesn't do that much to us, which is good because now we can heal up a bit with Leftovers, but our Leftovers healing is kind of negated by the G-Max Wildfire. And I'm thinking they could have a coverage move, and I don't want to be taking like, you know, a G-Max Overgrowth because they could have Solar Beam. So I just switch out into Roserade here because we 4 times resist Grass, and you can see our shiny Sparkle, and they actually do end up going for the max Overgrowth, so thankfully I got that read right. And 4 times resist doesn't do that much to us and we can heal up. So as you guys can see, I'm just stalling out the Gigantamax turns until this Charizard returns normal. We take a bit of damage, but it's perfectly fine. And I decide, you know what, Roserade is not going to be that valuable. I'm just going to sack it because we're probably going to get outspeed. We go for the max S stream, super effective, takes us out. Thankfully I didn't go to Milotic because I probably would have taken unnecessary damage. So Roserade goes down, not a problem, it's a 2-on-2 now, and they've used up their Gigantamax. So I go to Mr. Milotic, and I decide, you know what, their G-Max ends, I'm just gonna go for, you know, a recover, get some of my health back, and see what they want to do. Go for like, I don't know, does Charizard get Hurricane? He goes for the Solar Beam actually. So I go for the recover. Yeah, so we go back to max health, except we get chipped down by G-Max Wildfire. It's a little annoying because that out damages our recovery healing. So I decide, let's actually go for recover again because they're going to Solar Beam, which goes first because they're faster. So we're going to take a Solar Beam to the face, which actually does almost nothing to Milotic. We go for the recover now, heal ourselves back, and we also heal from the grassy terrain. And I decide to, you know, just rip a Skull. They go for the Solar Beam, and despite not having any special attack investment, Skull actually does pretty good damage to this Charizard. And I'm not sure why Leon's Charizard is so fast with only base 100 speed. I don't know, I think I'm missing something, but I swear this Charizard, even with Timid Nature and max speed investment, shouldn't outspeed a Choice Scarf Kabutops with max speed investment and boosted speed nature. So I don't know, maybe my calcs are wrong, but you know, I just go for Skull. They go for another Solar Beam, doesn't matter. Our attack's gonna hit them and it's gonna knock them out for good. And here, I'm feeling pretty confident because, I mean, he's just a bot after all. But they send out their last Pokemon, Seismitoad, and I'm not really threatened by this guy. I'm guessing it's a physical attacker, and it could have its water absorb, and I just decided let's find out. And turns out it does not have water absorb. So it could have Swift Swim or the other ability. They actually drop our speed, which I don't think matters. Yeah, Mud Shot does really little damage to us, but I'm assuming they're physically attacking Seismitoad. So they actually go for the Rain Dance, which doesn't really benefit them because now they outspeed us after the Mud Shot. And they're just boosting the damage from Skull. So I go for Skull. See what they want to do. We get our Leftovers healing, which is nice. They go for a Weather Ball, which is, resisted. I don't think the Seismitoad has many good coverage moves, and it does nothing to us because of how bulky we are. And we go for a Scout, and just like that, we've defeated Champion Leon. So yeah, pretty good match. And we beat the Battle Tower with this pretty unique team. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you.